Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. A viewer requested basically a compatibility natal charts analysis. It could also be twin flames natal chart analysis. So that's what we're going to do now. Whenever somebody requests a new report, like say their first time, they get a whole free report. It totally explains astrology, the 12 houses of astrology, all the signs, its connection to tarot cards. I think it's some chakra in there as well, and some angel cards in there as well. And also other resources, other videos that help out, even especially understanding the twin flames, because most people don't even understand the stages of twin flames. So that video is in there as well. All right. So the chart on the left, as you can see, because the chart on the right says male, so the chart on the left is the female who requested this. Right away, we start with Capricorn in the first house. And her first house is her first house, which is good because sometimes the 12th house becomes the first house, but that's usually that type of person is usually on 2 or more lifetimes. Whenever the 12th house has become the first house, you'll see that out here on this channel. You'll see a lot of natal charts. And this person also basically has the name of Christ in her name. Usually nothing is accidental or coincidental. All right, just give me a moment. All right. All right, so AC is the ascendant. It's where the sun was going over the horizon when she was born. And she just made it into Capricorn by 2 degrees. And then her east point is where the sun was going over the ecliptic when she was born at 24 degrees. But Capricorn, again, this is going to be a career-minded person. A Capricorn deals with career and it deals with her reputation. So just to let everybody know, her first house will be directly connected to her 10th house because Capricorn rules the 10th house. Now, the first house is ruled by Aries and deals with a person's personality. So she may be, they can be old souls as well. A Capricorn can also be an old soul. So it varies. It varies because some can be very career-minded, very professional. Some dress up, put on like perfume. And then some, basically you're just going to see a serious, somewhat of a serious. Doesn't mean they don't have a sense of humor and stuff like that, but they will have somewhat of a serious outlook. Even if it's only on certain matters. Could be like relationships. But the Capricorn is going to come with a measure of sober or seriousness. But some Capricorns is career down and, always dressed up. I work with a Capricorn, and I worked with her for close to 3 years. I never saw her have a bad hair day or a bad dress day. I don't know how she did it. To this day, it was a mystery how that woman came to work every day, and she had more than one job. So that would be her rising sign, her ascendant Capricorn. Now, when you go to her second house, you see Aquarius. This is usually a person that'll use their money to help the community, because that's what Aquarius does. Aquarius likes to take in knowledge, but then they use the knowledge to help other people. Or they might be a humanitarian. They may use their resources, finances, or their knowledge to actually help others. Aquarius rules the 11th house of friends, association, and groups. Not gonna do the third house yet, fourth or fifth house. We'll go right to the 6th house, and the asteroid Kyrus is there. Kyrus is the nurturer. So with Gemini, who rules the 3rd house, see, this is going to be a very spiritual person. And actually, she may even do some writing or some form of publishing, speaking, of service. Because the 6th house is ruled by Virgo. It's about service, health, healing, duty, daily activities, small children, small animals. So when you see Gemini, because Gemini rules the 3rd house, and that's also about younger education, short distances, communication, thought, creativity. The 3rd house and the 5th house are like very creative houses. And Gemini is also about the brotherhood. So this is a person you're going to see in some type of service. Could be church, could be Sunday, a Sunday school teacher. And again, you have a little Mother Mary tone there because you're dealing with Virgo rules the 6th house. All right. And she has that nurturing with Kyrus. So going back to her 3rd house, again, very spiritual. Now her 3rd house is going to be her 12th house because the 12th house rules Pisces. And ironically, she has Sagittarius in the 12th house. So this is definitely a teacher. Even educated. And when I say teacher, it doesn't have to be formal. But there's people walking around maybe never had a formal teacher, but they still teach. And it could be formal. So once again, she has Chiron there with Pisces. So once again, because it's the 3rd house, and sometimes Gemini can represent part-time or short distances or short travel. That's how I said, like even Sunday school teachers, that's kind of like a part-time job. Whether they get paid or not, that's between them and the church, but that's still kind of like a part-time job. But it's still dealing with a lot of times with, children. A lot of Sunday schools go all the way up to the 12th grade. But usually when you think of Sunday school, you usually think of children. And there are adult Sunday schools, but still, like I'm going old school. When you thought of Sunday school, you always thought of like, for the children. Because I think when I went to church, I don't even think they had a Sunday school for the adult. They had Sunday school for the kids, and then they had church for the adults. But in more recent years, now they have like a Sunday school for adults too. But it wasn't always like that. At least, like I'm Protestant, so like I was a Baptist church. So now with the sun in Pisces in the 3rd house, a great communicator. But now she won't be understood, but I'm going to put a twist on that. Some will understand her and some won't. Because usually when you have a Mercury retrograde, that means she's going to have trouble being understood. But because I looked at her 6th house, I think some will understand her and some won't. But either way, she's a healer. So remember, her 3rd house is going to be connected to her 12th house. And also we have to find Neptune. That'll be connected too. But at some point in her life, she may go to further her education. And she may have already done it. You gotta remember, this is my first time seeing this chart. But see, Sagittarius is more mature energy than Gemini. Gemini is more like short distance, whereas Sagittarius is long distance. And Sagittarius is also like maybe a second relationship, a second marriage, or you might break up with somebody and get back with them. But it's a lot of healing It's a lot of healing in her third house with Chiron, and it's a lot of healing in her sixth house, which is also a healing house, a health house. She may even have done work with like health communications. I mean, even when somebody calls your house and wants to talk to you about insurance, even that's health communications. But this is a very healing person. And whenever you're dealing with Gemini, again, you can be dealing with writing. So the person might have wrote things inspirational or things spiritual or things about healing. All right. We're not going to do the seventh house yet. Or the eighth house. See, a lot of charts, whenever you get to like a relationship sector, you start seeing retrogrades. So yeah, the implication is the implication is in the initial stages of relationships, there's going to be some issues, primarily with communications, because of the Mercury retrograde in that third house. I know they kind of, this is a unique natal chart because they don't really start counting her second house to the third house. So the universe is using a lot of Virgo energy to heal this situation. Because in her ninth house, she has a lot of finality with Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, but Sagittarius rules the ninth house. In her ninth house, Virgo is there again for healing. But again, this is service, this is health, this is the home. Sometimes a person like that may have some type of home in a long distance or foreign country. And if a person was to say, I don't have any home, long distance, or whatever, but they may still have family or somewhere they go to visit or stay sometime. In a lot of cases, Virgo can also mean service, like military service. So right now we're in the ninth house. Uranus retrograde is anything suddenly happening. Expect the unexpected. Someone who's normally quiet all of a sudden is talkative. Someone who's normally talkative all of a sudden quiet, but anything could happen. Expect the unexpected. Pluto retrograde means something. Going back to Uranus retrograde, the only thing is they have a problem with balance. It's either hot or cold, and they have to learn to compromise. A lot of times when you get spiritual people or religious people, they're like that. And you have to learn that you could have whatever beliefs you choose, but you can't expect other people to believe or accept what you believe. And sometimes you see, because it's the home, Virgo represents the home, and sometimes it also represents small children. Because sometimes people force their beliefs on their children, but you have to be very careful because it depends on how forceful or intense the person becomes. Because you see the Aries in the fourth house, that's family, but we're not sure who that is yet. But you can't be so forceful, because then when the state gets involved, or the powers that be get involved to protect the kids, and people get upset. But so I've studied spirituality, I've done that, I've studied metaphysics. So you learn. See, when you see a Uranus retrograde, the idea of a Uranus retrograde is the lesson a person has to learn is that you have to learn compromise. To each his own. Because how many times have we heard the world is going to end, but yet we're still here? So we have to be careful with spiritual beliefs and religious beliefs, because a lot of times those things don't come to fruition. So we have to get the balance. And a lot of times with Uranus retrograde, very extreme. And they have to learn balance. And this might be why the Cancer, which is the family sign, is in the fourth house. In the seventh house, because that's Libra or balance. Now, Pluto retrograde means something is going to be taken. And the reason why that is going to be taken is to help this person grow. Because remember, Sagittarius has to be more mature energy. And if this was a twin flame situation, that's why. Because they have to get out of the short-term Gemini energy if they're ever going to get to more mature Sagittarius energy. And look at that, Libra in the 10th house. But medium Coeli is way over 28 degrees. And she's got a couple of 28 degrees. So Libra represents partnerships, relationships, contracts, agreements, open enemies. I think it can represent cemeteries, the law. So when that's in your 10th house, there goes that Capricorn. That means she may have some type of career in any of those areas. And sometimes you're a person you're in a relationship is with your career. That's the way the universe views it, and that's the way like the Archangel cards, like Chamuel, views it. So let's look at 28 degrees Libra. All right, give me a moment. melancholic, romantic, and humble character. One amasses a great deal of knowledge and becomes an expert in one's field, but one is determined to stay out of the spotlight. So they have the possibility of being highly intellectual, which will bring about outstanding success. All right. So now we can go back to the first house, which I told you was really about the 10th house. And there you see Libra. So now you know it's kind of about relationships. See, when I told you about the old soul, see, when you have to understand twin flames, a lot of times your twin flame is connected to your family. It could be connected to the mother or the father, sometimes both. So the way this chart is, you're bouncing around through different times in her lifetime. So I will say, see that Sagittarius energy is all about endings, reckoning. Same thing with Jupiter. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Jupiter retrograde is all about questioning belief systems. And that's what I'm trying to say. Because a person could be raised a certain way, especially when you see Saturn in the fourth house, that could be some type of disciplinarian. And it could be feminine or masculine. And she's got the moon there as well. And we will deal with that. But it's still like what I'm trying to say is no matter what the atmosphere was in the family, it was still Saturnian, which means now that'll affect the relationship. Because the old timers know the world ain't nothing like it used to be when we came up. We came up, eye contact, a handshake meant something. You know, it's nothing like that. It is nothing like that. Some of you might remember, especially after 9/11, because after 9/11, the smallest infraction was met with almost like a Nazi response. I mean, an old timer might tell you it was nothing to go on the boardwalk after hours and kick back looking at the water with a cold beer. Try that now, you might get your head busted. And I'm not talking about by no thugs or gangsters. So things have changed. So that's why I said when I do a natal chart like this, because it's really bouncing all over her lifetime. But with Saturn, is somewhat of a firm way of viewing God and religion and religious beliefs. But that's going to affect her relationship. Remember, Saturn rules the 10th house. It rules Capricorn. Capricorn rules the 10th house. And there's Libra right there with the relationship. Now, when Libra rules the 7th house of family, 7th house of relationships, and then you got family right there. So whatever happened in her 4th house, that family rules, Cancer, is definitely affecting her 7th house. So she has to learn Jupiter retrograde. She has to learn to question beliefs. When I was a young teenager, I worked with this female. I'm sure she was Catholic. Her name was Mary. But me and Mary got along really good, but it was just like business. It was just like we were in there in the fast food restaurant, and me and her really did well. But unfortunately, Mary had some type of fallout with her father, or something happened. And when we went our separate ways and came back, because when you're younger, back then that's you'll be at a job for a year or two, leave, go somewhere, then you'll come back because you need some money or whatever. But when I met Mary again, she is a totally different female. She didn't want to take no type of instruction. She was just angry. And she wanted to debate. She wanted to debate everything. Like just 2 years prior, because me, I'm a worker. I could give a freak. I just want to get the job done. That's how she was when I met her. But 2 years later, she is totally different. So this is what you're kind of seeing on this chart with Jupiter retrograde. And it's necessary because she's not going to get to Sagittarius until she realizes that. Or she may have already done it. But you have to question belief systems. And, like we live in a period now where you have alternative lifestyles. Now, me personally, I personally maintain the same beliefs that I had 40 or more years ago in that area. But those people have a right to live. And this guy, Verity Church, I didn't put the video up because it's too much heat. But I had did a video where I was saying that preacher, he might have meant well, but he's out of order. You don't say, they got shot because they deserved it. What type of preacher, a man of God, would say something like that? So he has a misunderstanding of Scripture. Whatever happens, that's between whoever and God. You don't have to come out and say something like that. You can give a nice talk on the Bible's viewpoint on that, but you don't attack them. They're still people. So I've learned. That's what I mean about learning how to compromise. This is what I'm saying. This is on her chart. She has to learn that compromise. Uranus retrograde is going to try to teach you. You can't just be hot or cold. You got to learn to go in the middle. And I tell anybody, you say, listen, everything's crazy because my kids in school and all that. Well, maybe you need to move. And I hate to tell people that. Like I'm a little bit different. Like if you really believe in God, then you are your faith is gonna be tested. And if you really believe in God, so you shouldn't be afraid. If you feel like the city is too debauchery, then maybe you need to get out the city. If you feel the school system is going more and more and more to the dark side, then maybe you need to get the kids out of school. Out of that school. Because you're going to be in a battle. Like I said, I know I'm a spiritual person. I could just be walking somewhere, minding my own business, and all kind of hell will break loose. You are going to be, this is the evil, like the Bible tells, anything I'm saying to you is in the Bible. And people they act like they don't even know it. Like, let's just take a couple of examples. The whole world lies in the power of the devil. 2 Corinthians 4:4. My followers are no part of this world. I pray for my followers. I don't pray for this world. That's Jesus Christ talking. John 17. The devil looked at Jesus and said, this world, I can give it to whoever I want. I own it. That's Luke chapter 4. Jesus Christ didn't go, no, you don't. My Father owns it. He shut up. He didn't say nothing back because Satan do own it. In John 16, the ruler of this world is coming. So over and over, they're telling you the world is wicked. So if you're serving this God of the Bible, of course, you're an outsider. So you would be kind of foolish to go into, he's already warned you. And when you study what the Messiah said, you were supposed to lead a quiet life based on God's word. And just by me talking about this, people will get pissed off because they're not listening to what I'm saying. They just don't like what I'm saying. But that's why I said you're in for warfare. So you either got to find out who to really obey, because it can't just be theology. It can't just be a religious belief. You got to learn how to obey the person who actually put it together, which was the Messiah. And when you do that, you'll have a different frame of mind. And when you really believe in like the Holy Ghost, Holy Spirit, then you'll have the help you need to be where you need to be. But one thing we never have to be is extreme. But on this planet, you are the you're the outsider, not them. It's just like living in Sodom and Gomorrah. You're the outsider. So you got to rely on that spirit. And that's what Genesis 19, they did. They relied on the angels to come and help them and get them up out of there. And then you'll have a better relationship because you won't view everything from an extreme viewpoint. And you'll have a better relationship even with children. Because it's not the old times no more. You know, you taught your kids study, work hard. We taught them everything. I know how I was raised. But it's a different world. It's almost you got to raise your kids totally different. Like all that polite stuff. You got to be careful because it's a lot of predators out there. So I wouldn't teach my kids to be polite. My kids would be like focused and smart. If they even felt a certain way, they would know how to respond or know how to act or know what to do. Because unfortunately, that's just the kind of world. Just like they like to send their kids because parents, they send their kids to the store. I wouldn't do that. Not by themselves. Because that's all it takes. Right out here in New Jersey. Belmar, New Jersey. A 13-year-old girl went with her cousin, 11 years old, to the beach. Unsupervised. And there's no lifeguards on the beach after 5. So both of those girls drowned. And I was furious. I'm still mad. Every time I think about it, I just want to go to Belmar and start just beating the crap out of a lot of people. But you can't. It's just the times we live in. So you have to be concerned and you have to want to supervise. Not in a mean way, but in a loving way. Because if you notice in her 4th house, she's got Saturn and she's got Venus. And she's also got the moon. And the 4th house is the moon's dwelling place because that's the mother. That's why I say, like, this chart has a lot of Mother Mary, even with the Virgin. A lot of Mother Mary energy. So that's where she's at. The relationship gets better when she learns how to balance out that Libra energy, balance out a little bit of compromise. And we can't have extreme viewpoints because the world is full of people. And that's why I'm saying things can be very difficult, but sometimes you just have to move. And I'm sorry. If you studied your Bible, you would know how many times Jesus Christ literally ran. If you knew how many times he was literally chased out of towns and stuff, and one time they tried to throw him over a cliff, like, this is real. And some people they don't realize that. They think, like one guy wants to set up a restaurant, but people that have alternative lifestyles want to come in there and eat. And he says, well, I'm not going to serve you because of my religious beliefs. And that makes a lot of sense to a lot of religious people. I'm a religious person, but it doesn't make any kind of sense to me at all. How can that is? I hate to say this, but it is like saying I'm not serving you because you're black. Or I'm not serving you because of your race or that's crazy. So those people have a right to sue and they have a right to stand up for themselves. And if the gentleman feels that way, then you should move your business or something like that. But you can't just tell people I'm not going to serve you because of that. So we're going to go backwards again. And sometimes people become, you're not Jesus and you're not God. So if God or Jesus wanted somebody dead, they would be dead. So if the person's still alive, that should kind of tell you maybe the message is, maybe God's looking at how you're responding or how you act towards it. I don't know. Now, the reason why I'm spending time saying this is because, like I said, you have a lot of Aries there and a lot of Saturn. And that could be very aggressively stubborn. Saturn, stubborn. You know, this is going to be done this way. This is the way it's going to be done. And what your chart is encouraging you to do is get to a more Sagittarian. That's why Sagittarius is even in the 12th house. Sagittarius in the 12th house is going to work with people. And Sagittarius has got to learn to say, just because I'm highly intelligent, that doesn't mean people are beneath me. Because some people might say, I'm Sagittarius, I'm highly educated, highly intelligent, so I should make more money, and people should really come to me for advice. But when they put Sagittarius in the 12th house, it's to teach the person to say, you know what? Let me teach these people how to be educated. Like, you become a servant. See, your whole chart is ringing with service, but service teaches humility. So whatever education you have, whatever class or culture, because this is all the 9th house. Might know how to speak foreign languages, philosophy, all that is the 9th house ruled by Sagittarius. So you would be teaching that to other people as a service, but you don't allow those people to burn you out. Now, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, so you do have like a 12th house. If Jupiter's in your 12th house, that's your guardian angel. And Jupiter will make sure that as long as you're putting people, like being a servant, helping other people, that you'll always have finances. Now, the unique thing about your Juno is it's actually leaving your 7th house. Because Juno wants a serious relationship. But your Juno is leaving. It's actually in the 8th house with that vertex. And we'll talk about that as well. So that's scary, because that could mean anything. That could actually mean what I just said, but it could also mean that maybe the time is off a little bit, which could mean that your Juno would have been in your 7th house. So that's one to really know. If you're certain of your birth time and stuff like that, then they're basically telling you somehow you missed a situation of a relationship, but then you kind of bounce into the soul, because the vertex could be your soulmate. But like I said, we're not talking about that just yet. So we're going to do good fortune or part of fortune. That's that circle with the X going through it. Good fortune or part of fortune in the 12th house. Okay, now this person has a unique opportunity to transform or dissolve his own karma. See, because when you see Saturn, that's karma. But even Pluto teaches you lessons. And see, you have a high Saturn and you have a high Capricorn. So you have medium mystic talents and a gift of prophecy. Your dreams often give you answers. That means you should be writing your dreams down. And you can also keep a journal with you when you're awake to write down what's going on in. So you have a flair of spirituality, mysticism, illusion, and fantasy. You can be productive in film, television, and works of fiction. So you may not know it when it happens, but your enemies will frequently change their attitude from hostility to neutrality concerning you. But don't forget, that's even, like I said, you still have Jupiter in your 12th house because of this, because of Sagittarius. So some of your enemies might even become benevolent to you. And they say this person is generally unaware of their good fortune. And this person is treated very well by healthcare professionals. And we've already talked about Virgo. But again, the whole purpose of the 12th house is digging deep into your subconscious mind, bringing that stuff out so you can reckon with it. Because your 12th house is about karma and endings. But it's also to help other people, to be a service to other people. And remember, Pisces rules the 12th house. So this person could have even started off like a Sunday school teacher, but now they could actually be a female in pastorage or a female teacher. But still, Spirit is telling me to tell this person, but tone it down. Don't be so Capricornian and don't be so Saturnian. Because again, like I said, it is what it is. And what I'm trying to tell everybody, because I really walk a spiritual life. If you're really serving the Messiah, you're going to be battling. It's going to be there. That's a fact. So if you see anybody saying, "Oh, I'm this type of, oh, I'm this, and this is my religion," but they don't never have no type of stuff going on, like no type of friction, then something's not right. Because that's biblical. That's like a universal, metaphysical, spiritual. If you're serving this God of the Bible, you're going to see resistance. So now you have to decide how much resistance you can take. Because like I said, if you had a bakery and a lot of people with alternative lifestyles wanted to come in there, you can't not serve them. I mean, they're still fighting that in the courts and stuff, but that's illegal, and it's unscriptural too. You have to understand when Lot was in Sodom and Gomorrah, he had to put up with everything that happened. It wasn't until the very end that the angels were sent to destroy that city that God actually took action against those people. So in other words, that's why they told Lot, "You're an outsider. You don't come here telling us what to do." So you can't. What you can do is, like I said, sometimes Jesus had to run out of a city. He even said that in the Bible. He said, if I send you into a city and they chase you out of it, he said, just go leave it and shake the dust off your feet. Just go to the next city. So you can't set up shop somewhere and say, "Hey, this is my business. I built this up from the ground and I'll pick and choose." Well, then they could say the same thing to black people. "I hate black people. They're not coming in the store." We're going backwards. You just can't do it. And that's definitely not an act of love. And it's not your place to judge any of those people or their lifestyle. And I think too many Christians spend so much time telling other people, you need to get your own house, and you need to get your own house in shape instead of worrying about these people. So that's how the confusion starts, because they have a misprogramming from their religious beliefs. And then even in your relationship, like I said, because you see this all the time in Christianity, they talk so much about Jesus or what they believe, but their house, their lifestyle, their marriages are horrible. But nobody's supposed to talk about it. Like, we're just supposed to play this game. And unfortunately, God's going to send people like me and others that are not going to play the game. We're going to do what the Messiah said. That's why my numbers stay low and everything else. So again, a husband, you should be doing what the Bible said. The Bible didn't tell you to go out and start wars with people with alternative lifestyles. The Bible told you to be a great husband and a great father to the glory of God. Wife, it's the same counsel. Be a great wife and a great mother to the glory of God. But we got people doing what they want to and then saying, "Well, I'm a Christian. That's why I got a restaurant and I don't want anybody with alternative lifestyle in my restaurant because I'm a Christian." But your marriage sucks. Your family sucks. Why don't you work on that instead of worrying about these people? As long as they're obeying the rules that everybody would have to obey if they're in a restaurant, you can't just do whatever you want to. But then there should be no problem. They come in, they eat, whatever, and then they leave like anybody else. So why is that such a big deal to you? So people have their value systems messed up. And that's why I'm saying, what I'm seeing on this natal chart is this person has to learn that. Jupiter retrograde means test those religious. If you test your religious ideologies, you'll have a better relationship because that's your 7th house, more balance, and also better family, whether it's your family or your family that you were born into or the family that you'll have of your own family. So that's what your 7th house is basically saying. 9th house, same thing. Uranus retrograde, you got to learn compromise because Uranus retrograde is too extreme, too hot or too cold. They got to learn middle ground. Pluto retrograde means something's going to be taken so that you can get to more maturity. So we did 1st house, 2nd house, 3rd house, 4th house again. Well, we're going to do the 4th house a little bit because you got almost 2 different storylines in your 4th house. 5th house, your true north node, be very careful. Whenever you see Taurus in the 5th house, this is a person that'll spend money at the spur of the moment. And if you look at their 2nd house, they already have a unique way of looking at money. So this is the type of person that could really spend a lot of money because they get caught up in the moment. The 5th house is ruled by Leo, all about fun, children, childlike ways, taking risks, very creative house, traveling, just having a good old time. Now you have Pallas there at 0 degrees. Pallas will help you see patterns. But Taurus is very sensual, can be very sexual or passionate, loves massages, also loves to eat. Very magnetic zodiac sign. But they spend money easy in the 5th house. Also, they can be manipulated because somebody will come to them with some type of story and they'll lose money that type of way. Even like with gambling, they'll lose a lot of money gambling if they're not careful. So your 5th house, be very careful. See, sometimes you meet people like that. They seem really strict. Like you'll say, oh, she's not that type of girl. But you get her alone and you see all this freak come out. But that's repression. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because all their life they would say, good girls dress like this, good girls do that, close your legs, pull your dress down. And they've been repressed. And they really want to try the other side. So that's why the theme of your chart is learn how to breathe easy and learn how to let it go. And what I learned is I'm not responsible for anybody but me because I'm single. I can't worry about what other people do. I pray. That's all I do is pray. But as far as trying to make somebody see it your way or do it your way, you could be, and even your kids, like you can show them, but still you want to raise your children in love. You don't want to raise your children like a boot camp. And a lot of people make that mistake. That's why I said my children from day one, they would be highly thoughtful. At least I would try, because each person will be, you may try to make your child thoughtful, but they may not be. But that would be my goal. They would be like really, like, they would just be smart kids. Like they wouldn't be no dummies. Like I would really talk to them. And they would really like know stuff like at an early age. Like how life really is and what to watch out for and stuff like that. And I think some parents are just scared to talk to the kids about stuff like that. But nowadays you have to. Because I would have never let my kids go down to no beach by themselves with knowing there's no lifeguards. And all the township did was pay the family off. Because, see, that's the beach. And they're not going to change anything. So after 5 o'clock, you get in for free. So that's why there's no lifeguards. So everybody's coming to the Jersey Shore to go to the beach. So who cares if a few people die? That's the mentality. Who cares if a few people die, you know? It's just the way it is. But this is where we come to party. This is where we come to have fun. Nothing about, hey, you know, we need to change something a little bit. What can we do to make sure there's at least a few lifeguards along the beach to monitor the beach? Nothing like that. Just who cares? So that's one of the reasons why I hate this third dimension that we're in. And why I do what I do. That's more important to me than anything. Because to me, one child dying like that is too many. Because neither one of those girls had to die that day. And obviously, whoever they asked to go to the beach didn't care. Because there's no way I would have said yeah to that. I would have said no, or I'll go down there with you for a few minutes or whatever, and then you're going to come back up here or something. Got a little pool in the backyard. Doesn't cost a lot of money pooling and let them sit out there or whatever. Go in a bathtub or something. But nowhere you're going down to the beach by yourself. There's no lifeguards down there. Plus, this is just a crazy world. You don't have no little kids walking around by themselves. They're getting picked up all the time. Where my grandmother used to live, long time ago, they had sold that house. But it was a little girl. This is in Asbury Park, New Jersey. It was a little girl that was in that backyard. And that's the same backyard I used to play in. That was my grandmother's house and my grandfather's house. And that little girl was back there by herself. So a guy across the fence just grabbed her or whatever and pulled her over the fence. And then she's dead. And he's serving life in prison. And she was in her own backyard. So I take stuff like that seriously. I got neighbors that moved here not too long ago, and the first thing they did was build a big, big white fence. You can't see nothing in there. But you can hear like the family playing, you can hear the kids playing. But that's how they protected their kids. You can't see nothing in that big white fence. And sometimes you do have to be protective. You don't want to be overprotective, but you have to be protective sometimes. All right, so that's 5th house, 6th house. We did the healing. 7th house, again, this is just really unique. Her 7th house is really unique because of Juno. Because Juno's leaving. The 7th house is serious. But this will be a family-minded person. Serious. Like I said, Jupiter retrograde is going to help her question belief systems. Because that's what's holding her back on this chart. The belief system. But for some reason, Juno, which is a serious relationship, left. 9th house, we're not doing the 8th house yet. 9th house has been fully explained. 10th house we explained. 12th house we explained. Alright, now the 11th house. Now whenever you see Scorpio in the 11th house, now Scorpio rules the 8th house. And see, that's where her soul, that vertex is. So you have to read everything that's in the 8th house. And that's on your free report. Because it's a lot. And it takes a long time to read all that. And then some of that stuff's not even going to apply to the person. Some of it will, some of it won't. But whenever you see Scorpio in the 11th house, this is kind of like what you would call, see, because remember, Aquarius rules the 11th house. So this is kind of like what you call, it could be a secret society, but it doesn't have to be. And remember, even like Eastern Stars is a secret society. Even if they say that they're not, they got secrets, they got stuff the public's not going to necessarily know. But whatever it is, it's some type of meeting with where you're talking about higher sciences, hidden meanings, hidden messages. This is all Scorpio energy. But also deals with debt and taxes, shared resources, other people's money. And apparently, it's going to have a connection to this person in the 8th house with Leo. See, Taurus in the 5th house and Leo in the 8th. Could be highly sexual. But again, when you see Scorpio in 11th, that's also, it could be freaky. Not necessarily, but it could be freaky. And remember, I'm going to say it again, this chart is going over a lifetime. Because I've had people try to argue with me. Oh, that's not, nah. But they forget, you were 30 years ago. You just forgot. One lady tried to argue with me about her, me and my husband have a great relationship. I said, you might tell me you have a great relationship, but I see it on the chart. You were separated for a while. And then she said, oh yeah, we were. So her 11th house, which is friends, association, groups, and things, but it's got that whole Scorpio thing going on. That's where her, right now I'm just going to call him her soulmate. Because a lot of times when you see your vertex, it could be your twin soul. Twin soul is twin flame. Same soul, different body. A soulmate is anybody that's in your soul family. But see, Juno is there, which is strange. That's very... So this could be the twin flame, twin soul. But I'm just being honest with you. I don't have enough information at this point to say that yet. Because it's just confusing me why Juno took off. You would think Juno will want to be in the 7th house. So why did Juno take off and jump into this house with the Leo? So it's almost saying they had to go through the struggle of the 8th house and the 11th house on this chart before she could find herself in a serious relationship. And that's really what we've been seeing. Remember, the 8th house is closely related to the 12th house as well. So now Mars retrograde is usually aggressive. Person's got to learn patience. And in a past life, they may have really been going up against authority. They may have been in the military. And see, Neptune retrograde again. So you learn more. And remember, this could be past lives, but I got to see it. I got to call it the way I see it. See, when you see Neptune retrograde in Scorpio, they're both doubters. Scorpio tends to doubt. You got to really prove it to them. And even then, it takes them a while before they trust you. Highly sexual sign, very mysterious sign, very transforming sign, aggressive sign, power struggle, codependency, addictions, stalking, watery emotions, really out there. And then with Neptune retrograde, definitely abuse of some kind, alcoholic abuse, addiction, drug abuse. And that's why I said this is in friends, association, and groups. So at some point in her life, this is either her or her twin. But the partying was going on. So that's why I said this person right here, you're talking about at least 3 or 4 different lives. 3 or 4 different lives. Whether this is like past lives or all going on in one lifetime. But you see it all. And with that, Mars retrograde, definitely aggression. Now, why is Vesta there at 28 degrees? Well, Vesta can be highly sexual. So that might be one of the reasons why she's there. But Vesta also works with Virgo, believe it or not. And she actually helps out the home. She helps out the home. She's the fire. Wherever you see Vesta, this is where a person uses a lot of their energy. Or they did. And they could burn themselves out, or they could have health problems. But sometimes Vesta doesn't like aggression. So she might be there because of the Mars retrograde. And Vesta can also mean isolation and stuff. Because see, a lot of this stuff is like secret societies. Like sometimes you just got to understand. It doesn't have to be like you might not have a secret. It might just be certain people you hang out with. What goes down here stays down here. And remember, this chart is going over a lifetime. Because somebody might say, hey, listen, I'm no alcoholic. Okay, but you were 30 years ago. Or you had a drinking problem 30 years ago. So This is my first time seeing all of this. And I've done charts. I knew one of my friends out here. She's lived a lot of lifetimes, and you can see it on her chart. It's telling so many stories. But either way, that's where she meets this Leo in the 8th house. So Juno, if Juno's in the right location, Juno is saying that she's going to end up in a serious relationship with this Leo. But they got to go through all that drama first. That's what I get from it. See, to me, that Sagittarius in the 12th house is saying, yeah, after she goes through all this drama to learn, she'll be more inclined. But still, she's going to be really spiritual. And you see how her sun sign is Pisces? See, that sun is that Leo. Because a lot of people don't even realize that sometime in your natal chart, that's how you can see your twin. So it seems like they will end up together if they haven't already. But still, it's essential that she be spiritual. And not just a robot spiritual person. Like, she's got to learn, and that's why Scorpio is necessary, because Scorpio will teach her metaphysics. Like, I learned metaphysics. That's why, like, I'm way better without metaphysics. Like, I would still be like a typical robot. You just hear religious doctrine and you follow it. But with metaphysics, you learn how to really break down the puzzles and stuff and the mysteries. And that's why I said secret societies. So she may have already went somewhere or is going somewhere. And see, that it could even be the internet, because your 11th house is like Aquarius could be the internet. And in my opinion, so can Sagittarius. World Wide Web would be Sagittarius, but Aquarius is community. They even call the internet community. All right, final house for her. 4th house. You can't get past it. Aggression. But there is love, because you got Venus there with that moon, and that moon would definitely be like the Imum Coeli, or the mother. So there's love there, but somebody did come with the discipline as well. Now the Saturn could be the father, possibly, and that moon and Venus could be the mother. Your 4th house. Teenage to adult education, land and property, or real estate, vehicles, family and ancestors, the heart. Whoever raised her as a mother will be in her subconscious mind. Her subconscious mind, that's Imum Coeli. All right, now give me a moment, because we're gonna look at Lilith. right, we're going to look it up online. Okay, now this is the astrocodex.com. Having Lilith in the 4th house is considered a rather unfortunate natal placement, as it directly affects one's childhood years and family. Astrologers claim that Lilith's detriment is the sign Cancer, because your 4th house is ruled by Cancer, and is thus the traditional home of Cancer. Is by no means a good place for her to dwell. So now you see why Juno is bouncing out of relationships, because Cancer is right there in your 7th house. So all this is going back to the 4th house. Like I said, it just looks like an aggressive, Aries aggressive Saturn placement, which possibly was the father, but the mother was there through the moon with love. And the father, like I said, it's not really, like, no disrespect, but you got to blame religion. Because these people, some of these people really honest-hearted, like something like even World War II. A lot of those people were religious. They really believed that they were, God sent them to stop these Britons from taking everything, destroying Germany. And it is what it is. Like some of the most wicked was all based on people that didn't understand spirituality. They would just give them religious theology, twisted. And that's why I said it has to be a measure of forgiveness, because that's what the 12th house is about. Because I don't blame my father. I don't blame, like, my father's parents were Jehovah's Witnesses. And that they have a fake Bible. That New World Trend, that's not no Bible, that's a fake Bible. So no way in the world are you going to get God's Holy Spirit using a fake Bible. Why would you use a fake Bible when you have a real Bible? Like, all this stuff you have to figure out. And like, people are so sensitive that they rather attack the person telling the truth. But I don't care. You understand? I didn't come here. I didn't come to this planet to lie and be afraid. I came here to tell the truth. That's all on my natal chart. So anybody that does stuff, a lot of times they're being lied to. That person, they got to take the opportunity to question religion, learn things like metaphysics, and learn real history and stuff like that. So give me a moment. I'm just pulling all this here. Because this is going to be kind of. Give me a second. Like I said, I'm trying to get everything in order. Because we don't just want Lilith in the 4th. We want something else. I just hope we can find it. All right, we found it. So I think your most noteworthy house is going to be your 4th house with that Lilith conjunct the moon. Which will also make it, you'll start to get an explanation. See, when you have Lilith conjunct moon, there could be some issues where she's going to have issues with men. And that would understand why Juno is taken out. Juno don't want to be in the 7th house. And they already showed you why. So the person's early years may be disharmonic, and there are problems with at least one parent, which we kind of already discerned. The fourth house is responsible for the less dominant one, the parent, which in most cases is the person's mother. They say Lilith in the fourth house can give an unloving mother that abandons her child or does not dedicate a lot of time to it. That's interesting, but looking at her chart, it looks like Venus is right next to the mother. It looks like the father was kind of like, oh, I believe this is my belief, and blah, blah, blah. And he really, indoctrinated. But there may be some other issues there too, though. But you do see Venus. But Lilith next to conjunct the moon, we got to read that as well. But, sometimes the mother's just afraid to act, because if the mother acts, she's got to take on this psychopathic father who's, stuck on what he believes. I've seen it all. They say some Liliths in the fourth house is a mother who's more concerned with her own sexuality than raising her children. And Black Moon or Lilith in the fourth house can bring divorce of the parents due to unfaithfulness or other reasons connected with sexuality. The child feels like they're an observer. So even if the parents try to stay together because of the children can still observe. This isn't what you would call a traditional family. Step parents can be involved in the child's early years. So they say this person is going to have a problem creating their own family environment, and you see that in the seventh house with Juno like taking off. So they say because things wasn't right in the fourth house, what this Lilith individual is going to do is straight go right to the 10th house, and that's what we said earlier. So they use their job as an escape. And again, when you see Neptune retrograde, that's escapism too. They say this person may use their particular house just to sleep at, and then other than sleeping there, they're not even there. They're other places doing other things. So this person could be very secretive about their ancestors. There might be dark power running in the blood of some female ancestors. And they may have experienced a lot of poisonous relationships with family members. They feel like they're a scapegoat. Some degrees they feel rejected. And they may have endured physical punishments. Because they said if you notice Saturn, which she has, Mars, and even Pluto. But it said because they've been through so much, they excel in their careers and things like that. They said this person might have positive, negative, that's what they said, positive, negative ancestral karma. And they say you may choose not to form a family so you could break this cycle of karma. That's what they're saying. They said Lilith will cause you to try to hurt the moon power of other people. But these are subconscious programs that you have to learn how to deactivate. And you have a great opportunity to end these cycles. And then they said the same thing I said, and you have to learn balance, because you have to tame Lilith's somewhat destructive energies. You have to learn how to balance it. So we already said with Lilith, but also with Scorpio, sexual powers, obsession, anger, real watery emotions, dark undercurrents. See, they even said it. They said when you have Lilith conjunct the moon, you have the Black Madonna. She's a Virgo archetype. So you're going to be dealing with the virgin and the whore. Remember what I told you about Vesta and how she's connected? And I said what that could be. So that's what I said. So this is. It's a lot of repression there. I'm just going to tell you what I see. From that Saturn energy, sit down, close your legs, pull your dress down, boom, boom. This is how girls are supposed to act. That's the repression. And then it's the whore that comes out because now she's free and she wants to experiment. And now some guy who knows how to seduce females or whatever, and then the whore comes out. And what I mean by that, I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I'm giving you what you read, what we just got finished reading. You got the do as you're told girl, and then you got the whore. But she's got to learn the balance. And then she's at a point where she doesn't even know if she wants to really be in that type of relationship. Or she's going there already, who knows? Because of everything she's been through. So she's got to learn. But that's why I tell people, and they hate when I say this, but that's why you don't always have to rush into stuff. Because as soon as we meet somebody, we want to jump in bed and all that crazy stuff. And then we wonder why the relationship fizzed out. Because you should have built it up on something before you. Because sex can actually make you guys separate even faster. So again, when you have the moon conjunct Lilith, it's like the mother versus the anti-mother. Or like the chastity woman versus the whore. So these are all things she's dealing with or has dealt with in her lifetime. And they didn't bring it out, but Lilith also can have trouble with her own children. Like sometimes she has jealousy with her own kids and stuff like that. Or just mistreating her kids. So this is all a person that they have to deal with that. They have to pull it out. They have to be honest with themselves. But you can get healing. And if you come this far, you're strong enough to get the healing. Just some people don't want it. I know because I deal with people. And I don't know. Some people just want to be miserable. Like me, I want to be happy. But you're on a planet that just everybody's fucking stressed out. So they're always trying to pull you into some bullshit that usually has nothing to do with you. So you got to be strong enough to know what you will take, what you won't take. And sometimes when you're talking about relationships, you just got to learn how to have patience. All right. So now we'll look at the chart on the left, which is the male. Ironically, her chart is ending in the 12th house as Sagittarius, and his chart is beginning in Sagittarius. It looks like. All right. So if you look at the chart, now if you notice that her Juno goes into the 8th house. 8th house is ruled by Scorpio. His Juno is right at the end of the 8th house. So both of these people deal with a lot of well, especially her, because she has 0 degrees or 1 degrees and a lot of 28s and 29s. So that's a lot of endings and beginnings. And you see he's got the 29 with Juno. So in his case, his 12th house is also his ascendant. But it's still his 12th house. Because some people are going to count the ascendant as first house. But I tend not to count the ascendant as first house unless it's in the first house. Otherwise, I just call it ascendant. But it is his rising sign would be Sagittarius. But he's probably going to have a little bit of Capricorn to his personality as well. Because that's his first house is Capricorn. Now, we've already explained what the ascendant is. We've already explained what the east point is. All right, whenever you see Lilith, see the 12th house is really going to be dark, subconscious mind, deep secrets. A lot of stuff going on in the 12th house. Palace helps you see patterns, but Palace also deals with social issues. So all this is going on in the 12th house. So she has Sagittarius in the 12th house, and so does he. So they're all dealing with the same Sagittarius energy. Lilith retrograde tends to hold things in. And it'll come out during unexpected times. Sometimes it could be sex or just what they're holding in, or just come out. But see, when he has Sagittarius in his 12th house, that's the universe telling him to put other people first and don't use your Sagittarius energy and gifts to think that people should treat you better because this is a sacrificial house. But what happens with that is Lilith doesn't necessarily agree with that. Lilith retrograde. So sometimes Lilith retrograde will start trouble just so that the attention stays on her. Like she'll actually be very divisive. So you have to be careful of that. He has to be careful of that in the 12th house. So his 11th house is a lot like her 11th house. It's all about friends. He's psychic too. Because we learned that she has psychic gifts, so does he. So they get information through Sagittarius, Neptune, Scorpio. Now Sagittarius is in touch not just locally, but with the universe. So like if you take a group like Parliament Funkadelic, that was a lot of Sagittarius because they were teaching you stuff. They were teaching you universal information, but putting it in, you know, I don't want to call it because it definitely wasn't pop music. But when I say pop, but it was popular music. It wasn't necessarily pop music, but it was popular music. So that's what I'm saying. So I told you she probably met him in her 11th house of friends, association, and groups. Now, in his 11th house of friends, association, and groups, you see Juno. And when you see like this Leo with her Juno, on her chart, Leo with the Juno, and I said that was her 11th house of friends, association, and groups. Because it's Scorpio. Her 8th house is ruled by Scorpio. And now his Scorpio also has Juno. And he has nurturing in his 12th house with Sagittarius. But I'm pretty sure that's probably her. Because she had a lot of nurturing in her chart. That's why I'm saying that. So now there's karma in his second house because of Aquarius. But remember, Aquarius rules the 11th house. This is really some unique type of karma. Because it's not just him and her. It's like associated with like friends association groups. It's almost like the 11th house is their soul, like their soul family. But now the dangers in his second house, well, there's going to be karma there. There's going to be karma there because of Saturn retrograde. Whenever you see Saturn retrograde, that's somebody that has to work on patience. They usually have problems with authority. They deal with a lot of delays. If they're in court, it might be a delay. If they have paperwork they completed, they may have to find out that they have to do it again for some reason. That's all Saturn retrograde, but it's all about patience. But see, Saturn retrograde is just like Uranus direct. So that means this person really will lack control with possessions and finances, and maybe even his value system, because he's got that Aquarius energy. See, it just seems like both of these people are investing a lot in their 11th house, which again is Scorpio type things. It could be higher technology, it could be secrets, esoteric information, mystic information. And if you really notice in his chart, it's following hers, like his 4th house is Pisces. Let me see. Let me do it again. His 3rd house is Pisces, and so is hers. His chart is following hers like that. Again, so he got wounded in family, because that's what Chiron retrograde. See, just like her, but this is how twin flames are. Him and her have had some type of daddy mommy issues, one way or another. But in her case, it looks like her mother really was like loving. But Venus can mean like, love in different ways. It could be like, cause this is what the website said, that the mother might have been highly sexual and wasn't really there to be like parenting. That could be the case, or it could be that the mother really was loving towards the family, but the father was a little dogmatic. Only, like I said, only she would know that. But he's got the same type of issues with Saturn, even though Saturn is really in his 2nd house, as long as we know that these times are correct. Time of birth is correct. And ironically, his moon is at like 29 degrees. So that's interesting. But whenever you see moon in Pisces, that's going to be an intuitive or psychic person. But for some reason, that moon at 29 degrees. But before we do that, let's do the Vesta retrograde. All right, now this is a woman from YouTube. She calls herself Astrology, I think she calls herself, or Twin Astrology, something like that. But she says whenever you see Vesta retrograde, Vesta is trying to balance both sexual energies for 5th dimension. So Vesta will balance the masculine and feminine energies, because that is what you see. You see Saturn and the moon, and they're both at like 29 degrees. Because Saturn's really in the 3rd house, but it's so close to the 4th. So it's trying to heal you, especially issues related to sexuality and the sexual energies. And that's what you see in the 11th house. Because when you got Scorpio in the 11th house, that could be anything. That could even be somebody going to like a sexual healing clinic or something like that. A repression counseling or something. So they're saying Vesta retrograde might mean difficulty in communications, verbal misunderstanding, email misunderstanding, travel delays, frustrations. That's also Saturn retrograde, so he's going to experience that. So again, Vesta retrograde will affect your technology and communication. So will Saturn retrograde. Vesta governs communication, travel, and learning. So it can cause miscommunications, technological bugs, botched business deals, missed flights. This is all like Saturn retrograde. A mechanical issue with your car, even broken cell phone. So you can tell whoever did these two charts, they really, really worked on them. So they say if you got Vesta retrograde, it's time to slow down. Just like I said, patience. Take your time, pay attention to details. Take care of anything that requires reevaluation and revision. This is how you would channel the energy positively. Do you need to heal something from the past or connect with someone from the past? Vesta retrograde gives you the chance to retrace your steps and go revisit old ground. Observe, review, and release. Don't buy a new phone during this time, or a computer or car. Protect your electronics. Double check your flight times. Don't sign any business deals. Avoid relationship defining conversations. All right, give me one moment. Just give me a moment. I'm just trying to find something. Give me a moment. All right, I'm just looking at a few things. Retrograde Vesta represents the time to reflect on the way in which we serve others. A cause or belief, in addition to a sense of honor, pride, and sacrifice. Vesta asks whether the service is selfless pleasure or martyrdom, obligation or genuine responsibility. Let me look at this. So Vesta was retrograde in Pisces in 2015, because that's his Vesta retrograde Pisces. All right, here we go. Now give me just one moment. Vesta retrograde in Pisces supports. Okay, I think she meant to spell A-N, but she spelled it A-N-D. So just give me a moment. Vesta retrograde in Pisces also supports an intuitive period of time and an important karmic event that heals old wounds. Because that's what I see between these two. I see a lot of karmic connection between these two charts. But it includes like people, friends, association, and groups. Which is a little weird to me. But see, I know where I worked at, where I met my twin flame. I know a lot of those people that worked there. I had past life relationships with them. Just how things was going on. So both these charts are about healing, and I told you Vesta works with Virgo to heal. And they usually work with the family. But see, sometimes people's family is also friends, association, groups. Even like I said, if you're some type of teacher, even a Sunday school teacher could be a healer to a certain degree. That's why I said it's limitless. And when you study with astrology or anything with spirit, you can't limit it. And that's where we make a big mistake. That's what John chapter 3 is about. Nicodemus tried to limit the spirit. So Jesus said the spirit or the wind goes where it wants to. Like you can't limit the spirit. The spirit's gonna do what it wants to. And the more you understand that, you'll understand your chart better. Because when you get your chart, you're honestly listening to learn. Whereas some people will get it and they'll go, that didn't happen. That's not true. So they're looking to duke it out with somebody. They're not trying. And some of that stuff did happen, but they're just looking for a fight. And I'm like, hey, I got enough problems. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to hear that. I got enough problems. You should be thankful somebody's trying to help you and also making it really affordable. Because a lot of people out here on YouTube got unbelievably high prices. I'm trying to help, but I'm not going to sit there and be nobody's stomping ground. So that's why when you deal with the 12th house, you have to know when to tell people, okay, that's enough. I'm trying to help you, but now you got to learn how to do something that's on your own. Because there's only so much I can do. You're not going to martyr me. Alright, so what they're doing, I think I see what they're doing. They're going Venus retrograde in Pisces, but they want you to do it for your sign, like your sun sign. So his sun sign, see, even Virgo's at 28 degrees. See, both of these people, they just got it. Like everything's at the end. Even see how his moon, 29 degrees. So there's definitely some type of motherly Virgo type thing going on with him. Where it's always like at the end. (28 degrees and 29 degrees. So let's do that first. His sun sign is Virgo at 28 degrees. Maybe that'll give us some insight. See, with him, it seems like he's missing. Like he's just missing that feminine need. And what I'm trying to tell you, many, many years ago, when I was like really just graduated from high school, and I've been out about a year or so, I forget exactly, but my girlfriend was in college, so it was her first year, so she was 1 year younger than me. So she was going to school all the way in Montclair, New Jersey. So I know I was with her one day in Montclair, New Jersey, and one of her assignments was to go to this, like I said, that's the 11th house, because there's a whole lot of friends, association groups. Now remember, your friends don't have to be like, hey, Dave, my buddy. Y'all could just end up at a certain meeting, but it's still an association, it's a group, and you're still going to be considered like friends of that group or family of that group. So that's how that was. So that was a lot of 12th house psychological stuff, like a lot of 8th house stuff, a lot of 12th house stuff, because most of the people in that room have been horribly abused, horrible families, and I come from one. But I guess like I think it's just a little different, because like when you're black, it's just like, I'm just speaking for me, but when you're black, it's kind of like, oh, pick up yourself and keep it moving. But then other races, they're more like, oh, I can't believe he did this to me. Why would he do this to me? You know, they got to go through all that. But we more like, fuck that nigga. Like, we going to keep it moving. So that's how I was. So I was sitting in there. And it was just like, I was watching the teacher or the counselor. And he's talking to all these people. And they're really, you could tell these people are broken. And they're all confused. And they're still in pain. And while he's talking, he's changing all these lights. Now, keep in mind, this is long before I would learn about metaphysics. So I don't feel comfortable in this room. I'm like, this is some weird ass shit. Why does he keep changing the lights? And to me, it just seemed like he was manipulating them. To me, it seemed like he knew they were weak victims because they were still in the victimized, trying to find out why did this happen to me and why, where was God? So they're looking for all that crap. No disrespect. But I was like, man, you know, I was just always different. Like when I came here, I knew I was sent to be here for a reason. Even when I was little. But if you study Earth angels, they're like that. Like they know they came here for a reason. And like I just felt like my family was crazy. Like I said, man, this whole planet just seems to be crazy. It's very violent, very abusive. But I knew I came for a mission, and I wasn't gonna let nobody detract me. And I had that same determination decades later. So for me, I was like, okay, it happened, but you got to move on with your life. What are you going to do? Sit there all day long and tell the whole world how somebody beat you up? That's just how I felt. So I was very uncomfortable. And then, you know, this happens to me a lot. So I'm studying him and he's watching everything. Because he's trying to watch people in the room. Because to me, it just seemed like he was a manipulator. But that's how I felt at that moment. Now, maybe, I still think the guy was a manipulator. That's just how I felt. But maybe he was trying to help people and maybe, you know, he wasn't taking advantage of them. I don't know. I don't know his name. I just wanted to get the heck out that room. So he's changing all these lights while they're talking and all this crazy shit. So soon as the lights came back on and it was time to leave, I literally was trying to get out the door. So he stopped me. So here we go again. Why out of all these people, why you got to stop me? So he's trying to talk to me. I'm like, nah, that's all right. Nah, that's it. I only came because I came with my girlfriend. I said, I'm out of here. So why did I tell you all that? Because that's like 11th house. What you see on both these charts. Where a group of people come together and they talk about a lot of like 8th house stuff and 12th house stuff. Which can be obsession, power struggles, abuse of different kinds. Manipulation. So now we're looking at this Virgo. Because remember, this is all about Virgo healing on both charts. 28 degrees Virgo. And remember, I already explained why that Libra is there. We explained that on the first chart. Because both these charts are going to resemble each other to a certain degree. 28 degrees Virgo. Altruistic, austere, and resilient character. One is a loner and enjoys spending long moments pondering in solitude. But one also appreciates attending formal, glamorous ceremonies. Thanks to a vivid imagination, one is capable of achieving great creative works. There may be a strong religious vocation. Now, if that's true, in my opinion, based on these charts, he's picking up where her father left off. So that's already going to be a little challenging for her. If in the natal chart Mars is prominent, there is a tendency towards violence. If Venus is strong, this degree indicates that intense sensuality is reined in by self-control. Because I think both these charts are showing intense sexuality. Now they say the constellation Argo Navis gives a deep interest in education. So if you want to know more about his chart, learn more about the constellation Argo Navis. And again, we offer research services for people. You could do it on your own, or we offer research services. Argo Navis gives a deep interest in education, favors knowledge, amasses through journeys, and underlines the influence of altruism, faith, and philosophy. But again, that's at 29 degrees. So to me, he has to go through all that stuff you see before he gets in. See how he got 1111? Ain't that cool? He's got 1111 with his Mercury and his Uranus. Because remember, Uranus can just mean opposing the authority. Uranus means just doing something out of nowhere. But Uranus can also mean like higher technology. Even Aquarius can mean higher technology. So now we'll do. See, I wish I could do 29 degrees moon, but they're probably not going to give it to me. Oh yeah, we didn't do that yet. So now you want to do retrograde and Pisces for the sun sign. Virgo. Virgo. So Vesta retrograde will affect your relationship to both the human and the divine. Because remember, that's what Mother Mary was. A lot of people don't like to agree with that. Reflect on your connection to loved ones as well as your feelings about humanity at large and its needs. You may find this a good time to work in partnership with someone who is inspiring or uplifting. So again, twin flame. So not that I'm going to find it, but I want to say 29 degrees moon. Or moon 29 degrees. This is called daykeeperjournal.com. It just says 29 degrees. But it doesn't say moon. It says 29 degrees can be explosions, crashes, declines. And they say on May 6, 2010, New York Stock Exchange, they experienced those type of things, but they're saying it's because of that degree. See, what it looks like to me, they both got to go through a lot, but believe it or not, it's going to help them towards their healing. But it doesn't look like they're not really going to have what you call a connected relationship unless it's based on spirituality. Like definitely the chart to the left, she's going to need spirituality for her to really open up. All right, give me a moment because something just happened at Leo in the 5th house. So let's try to get it back. Okay, we got it back. Competitions, make sure. All right. All right, I'm gonna try to just get through this because it's way too much writing. So anytime you see 29 degrees on your chart, it's a critical issue or critical degree. So they're giving you an example at sometimes 29 degrees Scorpio can be an emotional bedrock of tenacious willingness, which typifies a democratic idea. But 29 degrees can also be somebody that wants to have their cake and have it paid for by somebody else. Because remember, Scorpio represents shared resources. So 29 degrees can lead to an emotional critical mass of physical facts being resisted by a public frightened of what the truth means. Scorpio based resistance is usually based on fear. So again, 29 degrees is very critical. So he definitely has some, at the end of the day, he has some mommy issues. And it's probably in the subconscious mind as well. And if you got mommy issues, you're usually going to have some type of issue with females as well. And he might have some daddy issues too. So we did his 11th house, 12th house. First house, second house, third house, fourth house. Oh yeah, but we just want to look at Vesta conjunct the moon. Now, this is Dr. B-A-I-R-A-V-V. I'm sorry. BAIRASUBRAMANIAM.com. You could just find in the search engine if you wrote that word down. She's also on YouTube because she's pretty good. She really understands Vesta. She understands a lot of these feminine asteroids. So she says, be mindful of the different archetypes of the feminine and how they connect with our spiritual path of service or being. So she says, Vesta will speak to you about devotion, or dissolution of devotion. Toward causes or energies larger than ourselves. She is a priestess or spiritual facilitator. So she's encouraging you to be more discerning regarding the types of services you are deciding to accept or entertain, and be aware of the road or path you're taking. And she's going to go back over the Galactic Center in September 2018. So this is probably going to affect both these charts just next month. And if anybody's listening to my other channel, I'm telling you how big September 2018 is going to be. It's going to be an unbelievably big year, big month. So they're saying she's saying you may want to wait until September 2018 before declaring commitments to philosophies, paths, travel, or in immigration plans, institutions, and so forth. See, you notice how they keep saying travel? Well, both of these charts, you just keep hearing the word travel because that's really what Sagittarius is. Because even Jupiter means expansion. Jupiter means good fortune and expansion. She says Vesta was the last on the Galactic Center in March 2018. So you may find some echoes of continuation from what happened back then. You may also be inspired to choose your path of service on the basis of when Saturn went over the Galactic Center for much of 2017. So you have to, with the moon and Vesta retrograde, you're being asked to be able to draw the bowstring, your bowstring backwards and hold it steady as you locate your goals and not let the arrow fly until the circumstance is just right. So again, patience. And it's funny because that's how I started to solve this whole reading on. Because that's something a lot of third dimensional people lack. Is patience. It's saying do not get caught up in your emotions just yet. She's saying you can let your emotions guide you, but don't get caught up in them just yet. You are not your emotions or your mother's emotions. Now, why is she saying your mother's emotions? Because both of these people have some type of connection to the mother. I think they both had daddy mommy issues, but I think her chart to the left, I think she had a better relationship with the mother, only because I see the Venus right there next, but I could be wrong. But there's both of them seem to have mother daddy concern, and they're telling her don't try to lead up to your society's expectations either. You have to learn how to really do you. She just said the word soul tribe. So that's what I'm talking about. In their 11th house, that's soul tribe. And that's why I said I worked at a job and I could just tell. The more I woke up about metaphysics, I knew a lot of those people I work with, I probably had some type of relationship with them in past lives and stuff. So she said the goddess asteroids are Ceres, Juno, and Vesta. And she said because it's a grand fire trine, which it is up there. So she's telling you to tap into your goddesses, your asteroids that are goddesses, she said. All right, so then she starts going into a lot of stuff, but I don't know what time period she's talking about because she's talking about degrees and stuff. So she said June 27th, June 30th, so we've already passed that. All right. All right, so that I'm looking for a little bit more. So I was gonna read another one of her things, but she didn't really answer what I'm looking for. So let's try this again. And just give me a moment because I really want this answer. Now, Bob Mark Astrologer is good, but when it comes to the asteroids, like Vesta, he doesn't really, in my opinion, doesn't really do the great of a job. So just be patient with me. One of these websites is called the Living Moon Astrology. I like that name. All right. So I just want to answer. Notice how both these charts that it was the fourth house that really had me stopping. All right, well, this really isn't telling me anything. All right, just give me a moment. All right. They say if you have a moon in Vesta, it can give you an instinctive ability to focus, but still not a whole lot. Now I'm gonna check my all right, give me a moment. All right. Well, like I said, ultimately, whenever you see Vesta with the moon, it's kind of like a type of Mother Mary, because it's kind of like Virgo, because Vesta definitely works for Virgo, and the moon on Virgo would be Mother Mary. But like I said, he's a highly psychic person, but I get the feeling that he wasn't in this life. He wasn't as close to his mother as he wished he was. She just seemed like she was further away than what he would have wanted. So that's his 12th house, first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house. Just a lot of aggression there with Aries. He might, be like an athlete, might be aggressive, he might be very competitive because this is the house of fun and children. So I think he gives a lot of energy into that fifth house because of the Aries energy. And also, wherever you see Vesta, he would give a lot of energy into that house. Wherever you see Vesta, that's the house that a person give a lot of energy to, and they have to learn how to calm down or they burn out. 6th house. So these charts are a little bit different. Do it again. Let me do it again. Oh yeah, so see his first house is the EP. Right, so let's do that again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so Pisces. So again, he's like her. As far as like spiritual communication, and the third house can be brotherhood. It could be your siblings, brother and sisters, the community around you, uh, young education. So that's real interesting. But you can tell he's on 2 life time frames, maybe more than 2. Because his 3rd house really could be his 4th house, but it's not. All right, so again, 4th house, just Aries. So again, you just have to be careful when you see Aries in the 4th house, because it could be some form of violence, aggression. All right. 6th house, again, Virgo, that's his true north node, Gemini. So he would be a communer in relationships. So that's his true north node for this life, is to really, be very communicative, thoughtful, possibly even creative on relationship matters, partnership matters, business, legal stuff, balancing, mayat, courtroom stuff, possibly open enemies. And again, going into his 8th house, just like hers. Let me do it again. All right, let me do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so just like hers. 7th house is family, and you got the vertex. So he will find himself in some type of connection with either family-minded people or somebody he considered family. But this is going to be some type of fated event or a soul connection or a twin soul connection because of that cross. Now, the 8th house, again, just like hers, going to be highly sexual because of Leo, and Leo likes to have fun. Could be childlike. Could be a very creative house. And now he just has to be careful because he could be dealing with passive aggression. This goes back to the 5th house as well. So I think they said he could be violent, so now you're saying it. And so you got to be careful because whenever you're dealing with the 5th house of Leo, you're dealing with children as well. So he's got the potential. He's got the potential to be passive aggressive. I mean, the sex might be great, might be fun. He might be able to take you to all kind of levels sexually. Because he's got the Aries. He's got Aries in both them houses. Because Mars rules Aries. So in the 5th house of fun and passion and everything, in the 8th house where you get down and dirty and freaky, he's got that. But then he's got that war. See, Mars used to rule Scorpio. But now, and Scorpio rules the 8th house. But now Mars rules Aries. So yeah, he's got that watery Scorpio going on in that 8th house. And he's got that Mars. It used to be a ruler. I see what's going on with Pluto. But he's definitely capable of blowing up quick. Depending on what the situation. See, that's the type of person. That's why we tell them, women especially. Nothing wrong with arguing and trying to get your point across. But the difference between two men will start arguing and they'll get up in each other's face and stuff. But they may not really want to fight. So one man or the other one may start backing down and then the other one start backing down. and then they don't ever fight. But women, they just keep getting up in your face because in their mind they say no matter what I say or do, you shouldn't hit me, and they really believe it. But that's how they get knocked the fuck out. Like on 100, like you just can't be up in people's faces because even if you did that with a police officer, he's still gonna find a way to take you to the ground. You might get tased, you might get forced to the ground, handcuffed. Like you're going down. You just can't be in people's faces. Like no matter even if the dude's dead wrong, he still has that right to have his little space. So some females they get really emotional and get up in your face, might even touch you, start poking you, might even punch you. Some of them will hit you, but they don't think you're supposed to respond. And some men don't. But see, I'm telling you right now, in this eighth house, he's not the guy you want to be up in his face getting crazy, because he's got too much Aries energy. And sometimes you can talk your way through things, or you got to just be creative and find a way to get your point across without anybody getting hurt. And like I said, I'd rather see a female call the cops, even though that could get ugly too. But I'd rather see her call the cops, because if she tries to handle it herself, especially with a chart like that, she might get beat up. The reason why a lot of people get beat up because they just like we not little kids no more. Like most of us are grown adults, and you don't want to get involved with arguing all the time, putting hands on people all the time, because that's why it gets bad. Like certain things just have to be handled. Like I learned this. That's why people know me on certain areas. I'm no nonsense. It just depends on what it is, but I'm no nonsense. Because if a person knows don't cross that line, they won't do it. But if you bickering back and forth, arguing, calling each other, hanging up the phone, or I'm gonna make him jealous, I'm gonna sleep with somebody, like you're doing all this stuff that's creating a boiling pot of somebody getting seriously hurt. So it's a way to deal with stuff, and that's why I said patience, slow down, and don't jump into it. Because when you see all this Scorpio energy and eighth house energy and Aries energy, this is somebody's gonna jump into it, and that's why it turns violent. Ninth house, same thing. This is healing. This could be long distance, a home, long distance home, or people you consider your home. Culture, class, healing. Could be some type of health, educational. And he got Mercury, so he's well understood. And to me, really, he looks like he'd be very innovative with Mercury, with the innovate, because even Pluto can be innovative too, believe it or not. Pluto can also be science. So this is very innovative healthcare or health stuff or working out, and that's probably going to bless him, because remember Sagittarius rules the ninth house, but Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So it might even be money there. And again, Pluto is very powerful, very transforming too. So this guy can be a very powerful speaker, and the reason why people like him because he hits you with Uranus. Like Uranus will come out of nowhere. And then just like his medium quality is at 2. Her medium quality is at 28. But that's his 10th house. And as I said, it could be legal, could be relationships, partnerships. So let's look at that 2 degrees Libra. Lack of freedom both in the affective and moral areas. It may describe a person who feels isolated among one's peers and unable to mingle with the entourage owing to one's beliefs. Also, they're saying his belief system would do that too, would keep him isolated. And that could be true because we came across that for this guy before. And he has to be careful with Libra in his 10th house, because if he does something that's unethical or something like that, he could end up in like legal problems. But ultimately, that Libra in his 10th house has to do with what we've been talking about, these two relationships. All right, finally, I guess that's the 11th house. So we already covered that. Friends, association, and groups. That's where he's going to meet, have a serious relationship. Now, looking at both these charts, they do tell a story. Now, in his 11th house, Neptune in Scorpio means he's going to be suspicious, but I've already covered that. So, the probability of them being twins is high, but there could be a chart that's even closer than this one. But they definitely got a karmic connection. They're both healer. This is why they're here, to heal. And I think they also deal with other people. If they don't do it yet, they will, but they deal with other people to help heal those people too. And it has some type of spiritual connotation. So you have to understand, even when you be watching like TV with all those commercials, a lot of those people, they don't necessarily say we're spiritual, or they don't tell you what their denomination is or what they believe spiritually, but the way they conduct it is still spiritual. So you just gotta be mindful of these things. So there you have it. So I would really strongly advise slowing things down, talking more, and not being afraid to talk. Might even want to get counseling on communication, because that's what I think people just rush into it. It's like you'll meet somebody and you'll have all kind of great, all animalistic, freaky sex and everything, but you don't even know the person's middle name. You don't know what their favorite color is. It's just stuff. It's just a rush, and then people wonder why their relationships are dysfunctional. But because you're not acting like humans, you're acting like animals. You gotta be humans. You gotta get to know somebody. Like I said, I'm just telling you the truth. I've been doing this for a long time. All sex does is make you just more animalistic. Yeah, you have to balance it. And that's why we keep talking about the Libra. You have to balance it. Like if you got to know somebody, talk a little bit more, slow down a little bit. Maybe help hands, started trusting each other. Telling each other a few things once you felt you could trust them and stuff. It's gonna be different when you have sex, because you're really starting to like this person, be attracted to the person. And I know a lot of people may not agree, but it all depends on what age group you're dealing with, and what other people know. Because that's what you're gonna get here. You're gonna get a lot of repression from Saturn, or in his case, Saturn's retrograde, which means he's gonna be a little too loose. And then also just people ready to fly off the handle, like in his 8th house. So all those things have to be dealt with, and only can be dealt with patience. You gotta be a little courageous. All right, this is it. This is the complaint, I guess. This is the end of this natal chart analysis. Any other questions, you can use the description box. And we still got a whole lot of offers going on. So you can always make sure you have the services offered and price list. And any questions and people that want to get started on the natal chart, you can do that immediately. All that information is in the description box. Just need the month, day, and year of birth. Time of birth if you have it. If not, we'll ask the archangels. City, state, country, USA.